Chris, that's the best way to win a game of football, isn't it?
Well, I think the game itself epitomised the whole season, really. I thought Nick and Aaron were outstanding, and yet both of them in the first half made an individual mistake. Obviously Nick at the start of the game, and Aaron towards the end of the first half, and it gave Leyton their opportunities. But for us to play away, I think we had 23 shots or so at goal, score 3 goals, miss a penalty, hit the bar and the post. So there's a lot of activity going on in terms of attacking. But yeah, to win it near the end was excellent. I mean, it shows the intent of the lads, which I'm really proud of them for that, because it's so easy to down tools from what's gone on this season. But like I said, I think it epitomises the whole season. And I'm a fighter and a driver, drive people on. Sometimes people will misunderstand that drive, but the players, if they represent that drive, will benefit because we'll win more than we'll lose. And I think that's our 18th win of the season, so that's commendable.
Not just down to what's happened through the season, but what happened in the game. They could have folded, they could have crumbled. Individual errors that have gifted goals, they've come back from it.
Yeah, and they've shown that willingness to do that in a game that, in really bigger terms, is significant, of fighting for 8 months for trying to achieve the playoffs and automatic promotion. But to do that, and when you've almost untied your own shoes, but to keep running, is commendable of the players and the staff, and I'm really pleased we managed to get the 3 points.
The missed penalty in amongst that as well, at a time when we really needed him to score. Again, do you stand in the dugout and think, what's going on here?
Yeah, the lads are walking down here with nothing on to get showers. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is.
What did you say then?
When the penalty's missed at a time when we really need it.
Oh yeah.
You stand here thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, and of course, to be fair to Ozzy, it was a poor penalty. I thought theirs was hit pretty strong, but Magnus saved. He gave the penalty away, but he saved it. I mean, we were comfortable and a couple of balls over the top, and that's how we made the mistake early doors. That's how they gained the penalty, and that's how they scored their goals, really. So for us to save so well from that and not gain from ours was a bit disappointing. Of course it was.
Settled into it second half, didn't we?
Played some good football today, passed it well, and it does help because the pitch is obviously down south. It's sunnier, warmer, grass grows quicker earlier in the year. Nothing we can do about that unless we invested some heat lamps. But yeah, it was a pleasure to play on that grass pitch as it was against Cheltenham, because there was a lot of grass on that too. And when it's like that, we can play football more, and I do want us to do that. But I want to do it and pass for a purpose. Don't just want to pass, and I want to play out. Of course I do, from the back, but not play at the back. And there's a balance to that, and we got most of that right today.
Ozzy off early doors. What's the early news on him, Chris?
It's just the hamstring that was tight that he tweaked. It's just tweaked again. He actually did it, he said, on the incident of gaining the penalty. But strikers being strikers, he's probably thought after doing much running and take it. But he's had to come off. And sometimes you could say, well, why take it if you know you're injured? But often when your adrenaline's running hard, you're running hard in a game, you don't know at that point. You felt something, but if everybody gave up on the first thing they feel, there'd be nobody on that pitch.
Brings Mellish on, he gets goal number 16, and that shows something from midfield for a man who's just still learning that part of his trade.
Well, yeah, what can I say? Foresight from myself, commitment from the player, and an output that's just commendable.
He's grinning away behind you there, listening to that. It is great, and it's 16 goals from him. That's what a return from a midfielder. I mean, Premier League clubs pay big money for that.
Well, he's not a refined Premier League player, is he, John? And I spoke to him at length after the Cheltenham fixture that we've got to tidy a lot of things up. Decisions on the ball. You play higher and you give the ball away, you don't get it back for 5 minutes. So no matter what he can do at that point, if the ball keeps turning over, it doesn't really matter how good you are at that point. The opposition just destroy you. So we have to tidy that up as a team anyway. but as an individual in John, I want the standards higher to that in his first touch, and he's more decision making and staying emotionally in control. But there's one thing he is, and I've been saying it since I seen what I seen, and if I was a Carlisle fan, I wouldn't want anything different. He runs his absolute nuts off for himself and the club. He wears a badge on his heart. He gives 100%, and that's John Mellish.
George Tanner kept cool, calm. He's got that in his locker, hasn't he?
Yeah, again, back at it. He was brilliant, wasn't he, on Tuesday. We've had a bit of rest, a bit of training. We trained well yesterday. You know, thank Chorley. We trained at Chorley's pitch yesterday on the way down here. And I'm just dead pleased that we've come to London and got 3 points in London in the city centre, because I'm not too sure. I don't know last time the club's been able to do that, but I'm really pleased we've done it today, especially with what happened in our home fixture with Leyton, because if I'm being real honest, I felt as though we deserved more within that game. They scored with the last kick of the game, so I'm really pleased we've been able to reverse that result.
A little bit of interest with the starting line-up again, Chris. What was the thinking behind Magnus Norman again and the formation that you used?
No big deal. Paul's been brilliant. Magnus was excellent Tuesday. Simple as that, really. John, yeah, I wanted to try and have a more technical type, quicker front four. But if your first touch ain't right and you're not quite right, it isn't like that. But I certainly don't prepare stroke coach that way for the lads to turn out like that. But what I was happy with was Lewis Alexander's response to his first 15-20 minutes. Murray Patrick was working really hard and getting in the game, and I probably brought him off at the time when he's probably warming into it at the best part of it. But I've got a good squad and I've got to try and utilise it. So them decisions you make, but I often try my best to make the right ones, and often that supports us being a more positive team than a negative team.
Ethan on then off, we saw him pulling at his back. Was that something to do with the knock that he took there?
Well, he finished training yesterday at Chorley, and he rang because he lives in Preston, so he went in his car to Chorley's ground before we drive to get on the bus. And after training, I didn't know, he rang Gav and just said like his back's sore, it spasmed a little bit. So of course we've already travelled. We've got our squad, and I've got people like the younger lads, Louis Bell, who's been struggling with hamstring this week, but he maybe not fit. But Fish, and it wouldn't look quite right not having our full squad. But Ethan assured us this morning that he said he felt a bit better. He felt okay in the warm up. And he was been a spark for us coming on in the game. So the game looked like it needed one at that point for us, just to take it up a notch. But obviously his back's not great, so he didn't feel quite comfortable. And then when I'm seeing the opposition fullbacks cross that football, I want to protect our result. At the time, we're obviously drawing the game, so I want to protect the result while we try and work hard to get our winner. So that's all that was.
Last one from me, Chris. I know it's all about the players who are here, but obviously Jimmy not being here, that raises a bit of interest. Is there any thinking behind that?
Well, not really. You look at the bench, you look at the output of that. You want to give people opportunity. I've just said that to everybody up there. I've given everybody opportunity this season. People have had opportunity to state their claim as such. But no, there's no big deal in that. We pick a squad to come here and beat Leyton Orient, and the squad's come here and it's beat it.
Thanks for your time, Chris.